G'day, my name is Dale Tanner. I am the lead vocalist of Ocean Grove, and we have our brand new album, Oddworld, dropping this November the 22nd.
Beautiful, Dale. Thanks for joining us today, brother.
Mate, it's great to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure, mate. So, as you say, Ocean Grove will release your fourth studio album, Oddworld, on November 22nd. So, how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling very, very excited, Chris. It's probably, this is the most excited I've been about anything I've put out into the world. Alongside my brothers, and it is, yeah. I sat down last night and gave the album a listen myself, just to sort of just get a refresh on. Okay, like, yeah, this feels big, and this feels like a definitive moment in Ocean Grove's career, and I just want to soak that in a little bit after having not listened to it for a bit and heard it a million times working on the studio, and gave it that space, and now I've revisited it thinking like, holy fuck, like this has some power to it. And I really think that it's our best work. It's Ocean Grove operating on all cylinders, and there's something there for everyone. It's taking all that was great about everything that we've done up until this point and fusing it with this newfound childlike excitement for the future, and just putting that stamp of this is certified Ocean Grove, like, and you better be here for it.
Hell yeah, brother. Now, can you dive into it a bit deeper musically for us and tell us what you're going for?
Yeah, so I think with the journey of the last few years and the last couple of albums, we have very much extended our reach as far as I think we felt we could, sonically, and that's been a really fun experimental process. And I think now that we are 3 albums deep and heading into the 4th, it felt like the perfect opportunity to round out that circle and bring that journey home to its sort of, to its roots. And that was one of the key aspects when we set out to create this album, was like, let's create an album that is a return to home and a return to the roots of Ocean Grove. And I think we very much achieved that. And that was very much guided by the fact that we as individuals were operating in such close quarters like we haven't done since the times of Black Label, since the inception of sort of the Rhapsody Tapes, and it's been so great to just be hanging out as mates all together. Because it's not to say that we haven't had, all of us involved in some degree all the way along anyway. It's just, this was the first time that we went, no, we're going to get together. We got an Airbnb. We hung out for a week at a place that had no distractions, had a tennis table, and that was about it. And we were just together, hanging out as mates, first and foremost, mucking around and writing a bit of music on the side. And that's exactly how this band started. And I think that energy, and that reminder that we're at our best when we are just together and collaborating and allowing all of our ideas to come together and fuse into what we call Ocean Grove and Oddworld music. And I guess we've realized that we can't fake that, and we can't replicate that without doing exactly what we have. Ocean Grove is the amalgamation of all of us putting our ideas together, and it might seem, abstract, or like one person's ideas coming from this side of the table and the other should never go together. But I think a song like Raindrop is a perfect example of, this sort of full OG Oddworld collective mindset that I'm referring to, because that's Luke coming in from a studio member perspective. He's had a massive role in sort of writing this album, and then Twiggy coming forward with some of his ideas, and you can kind of listen to that song and see where those segments are, and just like the fun that we've had in making those weave together. And so there was very much,
Yeah, that's actually a perfect segue to my next question, bro. Because I had the pleasure of listening to the album before this chat, and you guys have absolutely nailed it from every conceivable angle, bro. Like, well done. But it's got you've covered so many different genres and so many different feelings over the record, but it's still got a nice flow to it. Like, it doesn't seem like anything's out of place and anything's disjointed. Like, was that how much time, I guess, and how much work did you put into getting that cohesive flow?
That's definitely that's a really fun like element to the creative process with Ocean Grove. I think it does go beyond just right, we're going to write a bunch of hits and it's all going to be on this, full length album, and as long as the singles are in there, that doesn't really matter. That's never been our approach. It's always been about creating a journey like experience for the listener. And yeah, I'm really proud of the journey that this album has in and of itself, but also its sort of its ability to complement everything that's preceded it. I think that's a really cool aspect to it. So you can listen to Ocean Grove from start to finish, or you can listen to a certain album and then jump to Oddworld, and it's just a continuation of this journey and this mixtape style approach that we have kind of taken forever. We can't sit still. We're such a ADHD, minded band that there's always so many angles and so many different sounds and genres that we're trying to experiment with, that sometimes it does feel hard to think, oh, how's this all going to be cohesive and work? But sitting down once we have a lot of these songs and actually toying with that journey and that playlist and how that's going to feel going from one song into the next, and the ebbs and flows and the peaks and the valleys that you can work with when you have such dynamics is really fun. Honestly, you have to put yourself into the mindset of your 12-year-old self, and what that kid would want to hear if they did have 30-40 minutes jumping on a BMX and riding down the road, or going into into a shed with a couple of mates and chucking an album on and just wanting it to just complement whatever you were doing in life. And I think there's something very beautiful to that. And if it can be a journey from start to finish, and someone can step away and be like, holy fuck, like that is so synonymous with that experience that I've had all that time in my life. Yeah, there's power to that.
Fuck yeah. But in the creative process, bro, like, how do you know when you've gone too far in one direction or maybe not far enough? Like, have you got parameters that you set, or do you just keep nutting it out till it comes good?
Yeah, I think that we've that's sort of what we've done in the last, I guess, couple of albums. We've stretched our tether to see how much we could get away with. And that's a really great position to come from leading into an album like this, because it puts a lot of those questions to bed of like, oh, well, but what else haven't we tried yet? What haven't we, experimented with? We had a lot of confidence being like, we feel at home bringing it back to this very heavy new metal sound that is kind of at the origins of Ocean Grove, because we already have branched out and explored those other territories and have that in the back pocket. And now we can come back and return to this sound that we know when we perform live resonates with us the most and feels the most authentic and feels just the most joyous to play. And I think we feel that on the other side of the barrier too with our fans. It's just that when we're playing these sort of definitive OG grooves and riffs and choruses, and it's that bounce and that energy that we bring to the live show, realized, oh, all these little elements that we've kind of added into the Oddworld music genre all does work. But now that we've got that breadth, we can kind of channel it and focus it a little bit more. And I think that's very much what this album is. It's a maturity, it's a maturation of everything that we've done. And instead of being like, oh, we've got to keep pushing the boundaries, we've got to keep being different and keep doing something that we've never done before, I think we've had the liberation of doing that for 2 albums, and now it's time to bring it home.
Yeah, cool. So over the whole journey, mate, like with so much experimenting and pushing yourselves musically, like what would you say the biggest things you've learned about yourself and your music have been over that period?
One thing would be that, you know, this is and always will be a team effort, and that no one, yeah, no individual can do it all. And that's such a nice thing to confide in, is it you know, it is a joint venture, and we are the closest of mates and friends in this process, because it can be, you know, it's not easy to keep pushing the boundaries, knowing that you don't know what's necessarily going to come from it, especially in a career sense, having gone through, you know, a couple of years of lockdown, and all the uncertainties that came with that, and what you know, the last 4 years, I'll be honest, have just been a real uphill battles ever since that happened. You know, Flip Phone Fantasy came out a week before we kind of went into lockdown, and that really slashed so many plans and hopes and dreams, and had to sort of start from the ground up again. And that was a really hard thing to do, having just gone through the process of, you know, working out this new lineup, and what that was going to sound like and what that was going to look like. It really put everything on hold for a bit, and so now it's so nice to be in a place where there is excitement in the air again. There's momentum. There is a brotherhood amongst us that is tighter than ever. And I just don't think we could have got through those difficult times without having each other's backs. And I think, yeah, there was the temptation, um, to feel isolated and alone in those times, and to feel like, fuck, like, you know, just is this all that there is? And that friendship I'm so grateful for, and that ability for us to come out the other side, and to be more of a unified force than we have been in a very long time. It's shown me the power and the value of friendship at the core of this band and what we do. And that when you're operating from that place, the experimental, artistic, creative side of things is just plays out itself. Like, that doesn't need any further attention, because all the other cogs are turning. You know, the sort of the energy is there, and you just need to, as I said, put yourselves in the room together and just allow the magic to flow. And that's exactly what's happened.
Damn straight. Now, I guess the only negative with Oddworld, mate, is because it's so eclectic, how the hell are you going to pick singles to release that represent the album? Because not one song on there you could release and say, this is what to expect from the album.
Mm. Yeah, no, exactly. We find ourselves sometimes reflecting on previous albums and thinking, like, imagine how it would have been different if we'd released that song as a single instead. Like, would have been received differently, or, you know, no good in dwelling on the past. But it is an interesting thing where it's not so ever clean cut with us. It's not just, that's clearly the single and those are clearly not. I think with this album, it was, you know, the approach was very much, okay, I think it's a no-brainer to approach with the first couple of songs, um, really indicating that, hey, you know, we're back with this heavy sound, and that's not just going to be a one-off. So we'll give you a couple just to reassure you that you know, we aren't playing funny buggers. And you know, that was clear. So that sort of ticked off the first two, and then, you know, releasing Raindrop, it just sort of, it felt like, okay, that's a really nice change up on this sort of the sound that people have been shown so far. And then as for what we have, you know, still yet to come in terms of singles, I think it's very much just that approach again. It's like, okay, we've covered two bases. Like, where else? What is the other far extension of the Oddworld that still needs to be highlighted? And I'm really excited for this next single coming up. I think it's a it's a brand of the Oddworld that we have delved into on each record to some capacity, but I think this is finally the time where the one that I'm maybe most proud of and most excited to perform live, and I think is going to be a very, very powerful, song that a lot of people universally will connect to. So yeah, as much as the album is very much about ensuring that there's that journey and that flow, I think in terms of the single approach, it's just about more so keeping people on their toes and not knowing what to expect. Like that's that fun part of the lead up. So I hope people are excited for what's to come. There's a bit of everything.
Nice, brother. Now, speaking of live, you've got a few shows coming up. You got one in Brisbane on October the 4th, Sydney on the 5th, and Melbourne on October 6th. So tell us about them.
Yeah, so they are. I'm really excited for these shows. We're bringing out our mates Pale Dusk from Japan, which is really they're a fucking great band, and we're super honored to have played alongside them a few times now. So that's just the perfect complement to the Oddworld. You know, I think what they're doing is so great, and then also Inertia. It's probably a story that I'll share when I'm on stage, but Mark, the guitarist of Inertia, is a longtime friend, and when we were first touring and passing through Sydney, he'd always give us a place to stay, and we're talking 10 plus years ago. This is at a time where we couldn't afford to stay at hotels or anything like that, and we were playing our sort of first interstate shows, and this Mark, or we know him fondly as Sharky, it was always a floor to sleep on, and sometimes we'd be rocking up after a show at 1-2 in the morning, and he'd already be asleep, and it'd just be a living room with blankets and pillows or whatever, and it was sort of just to make yourself at home energy. And then we'd wake up and he'd already left for work, and we'd kind of get up and grab our things and brush our teeth and head off, lock the door behind us. And it was like, who's this guy that like we barely even know? We've just crashed his house, haven't even seen him, but he's just got so much trust and so much heart to just do that for another person or another group of people. And so he's in Inertia, and it's just such a nice full circle moment to be like, here we are 10 years later, and we get to now not only share the stage once, but be on a tour together. And it's almost us repaying that moment of like, you were always giving us your home, and now it's our chance to sort of bring you into ours. And so I think that's a really beautiful moment for me. So I'm really excited about the lineup, for one. Two, it's an all ages gig for 2 of the 3 shows, so that's a massive first too. So Melbourne and Brizzy, I'm fairly sure are the 2 all ages shows. And my got a couple of nephews coming along to the Melbourne show, and we really love seeing the younger generation at the shows as much as we love seeing the current and the older and everything in between at the shows too. I think that's where we do pride ourselves on the fact that Ocean Grove can be for anybody and everybody, and that there are influences and sounds there that are from 1950 to 2050. It doesn't matter what you're into. That just come to the show and experience. It's the energy that you feel when you enter an OG show and enter the Oddworld, is that we create an energy that just supersedes the need to be like, oh, I'm into punk, or I'm into hardcore only. Like, well, that doesn't matter. You don't need to question that. It's it's the energy that you're coming for, and it's going to be a hell of a time. I think we haven't really headlined since, especially major cities. We haven't really done since our last headline tour back in 2022. There's been some regional tours, and we've been support some festivals and all this cool stuff. But when it comes to an actual OG show, major city headline, kind of, this is our chance to curate the experience to our liking. We haven't had that chance in a little bit, and I think we've grown and progressed so much as a band in those 18 months that I'm really excited for everyone to see. And people would have gotten a glimpse of it on the Polaris shows, and it was really nice to give some of these new songs a test run and showcase kind of what we've been brewing. And I think these shows are going to be that, just on another level of of like this, Ocean Grove has arrived, and I hope you're here for it.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, on that note, mate, we shall sign off for now, but Oddworld is out November 22nd. Fantastic album, buddy. Probably one of the best I've heard all year, mate. So hope she goes well for you, and
Wow.
hopefully catch up with you at the Brisbane show.
Fuck yeah. Thanks so much, Chris.
Take care,
Always
brother.
great chatting.